everybody, it's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R chat for Sunday, February 22nd, Sweeps Week 2015. I don't even know how to start. I don't know where to begin. I am dazed. I'm confused. I normally don't even begin to watch Y&Rs until Fridays and Saturday, but in the back of my head all week, it was like Monday rolled around and I'm like, oh, you know, I know that plane crash is gonna be going down. I know it's gonna be the big week on Y&R. I'll wait till the weekend. By Tuesday, I was watching Monday, Tuesday's episode. Every day, just along with the story, just at every turn, it was more and more insane. It's plane crash and building burning and roof collapsing, implode, explode. I don't even know where to look. It was insane. I can't even recall in recent history or a week that has been like this. There have been other Y&R weeks that have been very explosive, but this was heavy on the special effects. It was heavy on the everything. I mean, like, Genoa City's worst day was my best week ever. I thought it was completely incredible. I'm not gonna say it was flawless, it was perfect, because there certainly were some moments that were effects-wise and acting-wise and suspense-wise incredible. There were other little things that seemed inconsistent to me as far as the characters go, but all in all, I mean, you can't lie. I've been getting nothing but comments all week. Everybody's excited about the show. You can't deny that it was a ratings grab. I mean, everybody's into Y&R right now. We're feeling it, every single last one of us. So much effort was clearly put into this week's show. We saw these amazing sets, and before I get into all the stories, I really think Y&R deserves a big thumbs up for putting together these incredible sets. The plane crash looked very real to me, very dark and elaborate. I'm sure that wasn't easy to put together. The underground collapse, all of that wood and metal, and even right down to leaking pipes, light fixtures, even the insulation that was in and around the building was all worked into that set. It was just incredible. I think they did a wonderful job. Clearly, they had some budget. I don't know why, but apparently Y&R got their February sweeps budget and they really went for it. They even sprung for some CGI fire. There was just a lot going on visually with the show this week that I thought deserves attention and deserves some accolades. The stories were compelling plot-wise. Again, as I said, there's some character moments that I thought were a little off, but plot-wise, it was driven, it was captivating, it made me hate the end of every episode because I just wanted to see the next episode. It was just suspenseful beyond belief. It also, you know, as far as writing goes, it allowed the actors to really shine. There were a lot of wonderful moments for the characters and for the actors to really let it all hang out, beginning with what I think has been the most compelling, because which is the plane crash and Neil and the big reveal of Hillary and Devon's relationship. That to me has been the storyline, because it wasn't just an out of the blue disaster, which clearly this was disaster week on Y&R. The thing we just need to keep in mind just before we all move on with our lives at the end of at the end of Y&R chat, just do some takeaways. Don't get on a plane this week. Do not go to any nightclubs that seem a little dingy in a warehouse district, and for the love of God, don't drink anything out of a punch bowl. I feel like the winner's storyline, though, is so effective because it was the disaster, but also just the emotional layer, the months and months of building on this big reveal of Devon and Hillary's relationship just sitting on top of a disaster was incredible. And just in so many ways throughout the week, in this storyline and in the others, it pushed the characters to their physical and emotional limits. And I'm sure that was such a pleasure for all of the actors, as it certainly was a pleasure for me as a viewer. I loved Neil's big reveal inside of the airplane that he knew the truth about Hillary and Devon's relationship. He went to go take a big swig of that liquor bottle. He revealed that he could read the bottle, and everyone in the cabin is shocked, saying, "You can, Dad, Neil, you can see." And Christoph St. John's performance was so incredible. Neil just looks around at the room and says, "Oh, I see the light. And when the light showed me my lying son in bed with my cheating wife." Every single syllable that Neil said to reveal this truth to his family was lavish. It was, he took his time revealing that he knew. Oh, they took their time keeping the truth from him, and so now this is his time to just reveal the truth. And you could almost see the wave of reaction just blasting over everybody in the little cabin. Is that the right word? The cabin? Everybody's face. Lily's probably the only one who's genuinely shocked by this information. Kane's just got his head in his hand. Jill, although, was also shocked. Colin is like, "Uh-oh." And the look on Hillary and Devon's faces, I had this awesome moment of connecting with them both, because it was clear that it was like, oh crap. I mean, just the look on their face just said it all. It was an incredible scene, like way to end the show, way to begin the show, realizing that, oh, we've been exposed here. And not only have we been exposed, but right here in front of everybody. Lily flips out. She cannot believe it. She sees, it's clear, it's true. I mean, Devon and Hillary cannot deny it. Lily gets up. I loved the moment where she walked right up to Devon and just whacked him right in his face, like, "You disgust me." I don't even know if she said "you disgust me," but that was clearly the feeling that she had, and the judgment sort of just started to become heaped on Devon and Hillary, and even Jill's reaction is like, "Oh, you two, how could you? Oh, Devon, you slept with your father's wife. You're Catherine's grandson. How could you do this? How could you sleep with your father's wife, which was pretty rich, considering the fact that, hey, Jill, remember that time that you were sleeping with your husband's son? Oh, how quickly we forget." It was just so good. I mean, the emotional build, and knowing from the previews that the plane was going to go down, created a physical sort of build as well. But it was like the worst place, by the way, for Neil to reveal this truth, because like as soon as it was out there, it was like a big stank in a small little area. I mean, everybody's trapped with it. And Neil did it on purpose. He clearly kind of orchestrated it, or that was the feeling I had at the time. Like, Neil knew he was gonna do this. He was intentional with it. I mean, he's probably sloshed off his out of his mind with liquor, which I also thought Christophe St. John played very well with that slow reveal, the slow speech. It really just worked for what was going on in the scene. But it was like this feeling of we're all trapped. We are now all trapped with this ugly, horrible lie, and no one can get away from it. And Lily is totally freaking out. Neil is asking questions of Devon and Hillary, trying to figure out how long it's been going on, how much it's been going on. Neither of them want to answer the question, which tells him everything and only feeds everybody else's fuel that's been going on for a while. And of course, Devon and Hillary are justifying it the way they always have. Well, it's okay because we love each other. It's not just a sex thing. We actually are in love. And we didn't want to hurt you, but it's not working with the crowd. It's not going over well with Neil. Neil doesn't waste a whole lot of time before blowing up Kane's little world there and making sure that Lily realizes that Kane knew all along. Lily, I think she had this moment of you lied to me. Just a total betrayal. She'd given Kane so many opportunities to tell her the truth. Whereas I guess because I've been along with Kane on this journey, I understand where he was coming from. I think he didn't want to destroy Neil. He was hoping it would go away. He didn't ask to see them together. He didn't ask to become burdened with this truth, but he wanted to try to cushion the blow as much as he could, and unfortunately it didn't work, and it caught him up in lie after lie with his wife. But Lily's betrayal of, you lied to me, it felt so heartfelt from the actress and from the character. And then of course Neil continued to reveal that, oh yeah, by the way, Colin knew too. Oh ladies, your husbands knew. Colin it was funny because Jill is she's appalled by Devon, and then she's appalled by the fact that Colin kept this secret from her, which she knew damn well he was doing something shady to get that money, and that's where he had to reveal that is where that the blackmail money came from somewhere, because I think Neil was the one that mentioned it. But Jill's all like, I can't believe you would do that, and being very self-righteous, and it was just a brief moment, but I kind of loved Colin listening to him sort of weasel his way out of the situation, because the contrast is, this is going to be a real challenge for Lily and Kane's relationship. Lily getting over this is not going to happen quickly. Colin's going to weasel his way back into Jill's life. There's an understanding of the type of guy that Colin is, and not a huge expectation that he's going to be Mr. Upstanding. Kane, on the other hand, is going to pay the price for this, and I think their relationship is going to suffer, unfortunately. Devon and Hillary are shell-shocked. They didn't want this information to come out. They certainly didn't want it to come out this way and right now. Separately, I think Devon and Hillary did have moments with Neil. Hillary tried to approach Neil and tell him, just to try to explain her side of the situation, but there really is no explaining it. There's no way of getting out of it. And Neil, because of the situation and because of the drinking, is becoming increasingly surly and almost maniacal. It was an interesting slip, seeing him kind of slip down this slippery slope down into drunkenness, because Neil starts to say cryptic things. He's telling Hillary and Devon that they don't deserve to be happy. Oh, you think you're just going to ride off into the sunset together? Oh no. You're not gonna, you don't deserve happiness. In fact, he says something like, you are dead. You're dead. They're dead. And I think he meant like they're dead to me. But he's being real suspicious, and he's clutching on to this briefcase, this silver, like, I don't know, looks like it's made out of probably whatever the airplane's made out of, you know, briefcase, and he's clutching onto it, and he seems like he's got some kind of plan. And finally, Colin stands up. He's the one looking at Neil saying, "What's in the briefcase, Neil? What's in the briefcase, Neil?" And of course, I'm wondering the exact same thing. It was sort of like that moment in Seven, at the end of the movie Seven, Brad Pitt's like, "What's in the box?" It was everybody's sort of worried. Lily's exclaiming that, oh, he would never, whatever it is, he would never hurt us. I'm thinking, my initial thought was, is it some kind of explosive? Which didn't even seem like Neil. I mean, he went from upstanding guy, he's had a couple of drinks for a couple of days, and now he's a bomber. I thought, you know, does he have some kind of weird thing you can buy on the internet to take a plane down? I don't even know if that exists. I'm thinking, could it be a gun? I don't know, is he gonna open up the briefcase and it's a cell phone and he decides to make a phone call while in flight and that's gonna bring the whole plane down? I don't know what's in the freaking briefcase, but all of a sudden the turbulence starts to get really bad. Everybody's thrashing around the cabin, and I'm still thinking, is whatever's in the briefcase causing this? I'm thrown off by the briefcase, clearly. And that's where the episode ends. Everybody's thrashed around the cabin. Episode ends. Next episode, which I think was Tuesday's show, opens up total crash site. I mean, it's just wreckage and ice and snow, and the first shot we see of a survivor is Kane. It's Kane's face, and I want to say his eyes were open, and it was so just shocking looking at his face, and it reminded me of the time when, I mean, because so many other sort of twists and turns were happening this week, it reminded me of when Kane got shot and killed. I didn't see that coming. I don't think there was a whole lot of like fan buzz or Y&R news about it. I think Y&R just kind of killed Kane, as I recall, and nobody really saw it coming. And so his eyes are open and he's lying there, and I'm thinking, is he dead? I mean, I don't even know what to expect of all of this. But no, he is alive. He gets up. He sort of one by one, it becomes, you know, there he's looking around and other people are waking up from the wreckage. The other thing that I have to say that I don't want to forget is that, as we're talking about the sets and you know, the other visual elements of this week's show, I really appreciated the sound. I don't know if anybody was kind of tuned into the audio track at all, but as Kane initially woke up from the crash, I don't know if it was a music or a combination of music and sound effects, but just this real, almost like horror show sort of audio track going on, and it really added to the a feeling of I'm there with them. This is so dangerous. I can't believe this just happened. I had a sense of fear throughout it, and it was brilliant. It was also in the underground. You could hear these weird little twists and sounds, and I didn't want to forget to mention that I think the audio engineers did a beautiful job this week in putting together the show as well. So one by one, like Neil wakes up, Colin wakes up, Jill wakes up. They're all still alive. Lily is absolutely nowhere to be found. Devon is awake, and Hillary is trapped underneath a piece of rubble or a piece of the plane, and it becomes clear that she is the most severely injured. She's got a cut on her leg, it's near an artery, she's bleeding to death. Neil, who has got a head wound, rushes over to Hillary as if everything that had happened prior was unimportant. And I was surprised by that, but also really connected with and appreciated that. Neil completely put aside everything that had just happened and became focused on saving Hillary's life, and in fact, he did. He gives her CPR, and he's saying, please baby, come, you know, I mean, it's clear the love doesn't get erased in the moment because of the lie, which we've seen time and time again, of course. And he's given her CPR, and he's the one that's really taken charge of bringing her back to life. Devon is a little bit more like a wounded bird, or just he's clearly emotionally worried, but Neil was the one that really took charge of that, and it was surprising. She almost dies, and it's odd because I don't know if any of you felt this, and I don't even know if it's worth mentioning, but I started thinking in this moment as Hillary is sort of dying, and I think even at the end of Tuesday's show, she'd been resuscitated or something, I think. I don't know, maybe it was before that. But she looks up at Neil and she says, "I'm gonna die. And before I die, I want you to know, ... And I thought, is she gonna die? I really had a brief moment of thinking, Hillary is gonna die. Lily's missing. She's probably mortally wounded, and Hillary's gonna end up dying and donating something, a heart or something, to Lily. I really, for a moment, believed that was the direction, and that that Weiner was just gonna kill Hillary. And it was so odd. Not that I dislike Hillary, because in the moment with the reveal in the plane, I really connected with her and liked her, but lying on the ground, I thought she was gonna die, and I actually thought that was okay. I had a moment of, you know what, maybe this is the best direction they could take the storyline. I feel bad for saying that, because again, it's not that I don't like Hillary at all, but I had this moment of thinking, you know, we've been wanting the reveal of Hillary and Devon's affair to come out for so long, but I don't think I ever once thought about what it really is going to mean for the landscape of the show, what it's going to mean for the winner's family. And I thought to myself, well, shoot, I guess just killing her, martyring her, maybe giving her something for a body part, an organ for Lily, maybe that is the best direction. But no, apparently that's not the direction they were going to take. Unless, I don't know. I mean, none of these people are out of the woods. I don't know if there's any chance that Hillary will still die. I don't know what it was she wanted to tell Neil, unless it was like more unburdening of her soul, or the true nature of her and Devon's relationship. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but Neil does save her for the time being. And by the way, Colin is off in the background. He finds the briefcase and opens it up as Neil's kind of hovering over Hillary's body. Colin opens up the briefcase and it's filled with memories. It's kind of a memory box. And Neil had said something on the plane, like, they were like, "What's in the box?" And he says, "It's our lives." And I thought, you know, what's he gonna do? Weiner totally tricked us. It was a memory box. Inside the briefcase was a ticket to a jazz club or a basketball game and photos, and I don't know what was the briefcase though. What was he gonna do? He got everything into the briefcase and got on this flight, and what was he gonna do? And I mean, I don't understand. That seemed like a red herring or something, I guess maybe is what Weiner was trying to accomplish. But Neil quickly, as everyone's looking at the briefcase, Neil says, "You can burn everything in there." I don't know if that's what he was planning on doing. I don't know if it was initially going to be part of his big reveal. I'm still lost on the freaking briefcase, but whatever. Lily ends up being found. Kane has gone off into the cold looking for his wife. He brings her back, carrying her in his arms, and she's kind of becomes resuscitated and sort of like wakes up, and like immediately Lily looks at Kane and she's still pissed. She's still pissed about the lie. The girl's been through a plane crash. She survived a plane crash, and she's still pissed at him about that lie. Apparently a plane crash couldn't erase it, but I don't know, maybe I'm much more forgiving. I would have thought that would have been sort of a relationship reaffirming moment for them, like, okay, there was this lie, but at the end of the day we really love each other, and she didn't give him a chance to explain. Kane hasn't had a chance to explain to Lily what his situation was, and I felt bad for him with it. I mean, kind of loud, Kane's a victim here too. I don't think Kane's a conspirator. I think of Kane as a victim, but Lily don't see that. She is still ticked off. Crystal Khalil looked beautiful, by the way, even with no makeup on. I don't know how she pulled that off, but I was sort of admiring how good she looked, just like with crazy hair and no makeup. I don't know how that's possible, but it kind of ends for the day, and you know, picks up the next episode. A night has passed. everyone is sort of huddled together. Lily and Kane for warmth, Jill and Colin. Devon is not leaving Hillary's side. He's laying there with her. Neil has apparently slept in the wreckage with the dead pilot. By the way, oh yeah, pilot didn't survive. I hope nobody gets any ideas and decides to just, you know, maybe eat him. It's kind of sounding a little bit like that movie. I don't know what Y&R is going to do. I mean, for crying out loud, that Neil could drag the pilot out of the plane, stick him into the middle of the group, and Jill, Colin, Devon, Hillary, Lily, Kane, they could all grab forks and knives from the plane and just start eating him up. They could rip off an arm and start eating him, and I don't think I would have been any more surprised than I was surprised with the rest of the week. But Neil kind of comes out of the plane, and everybody's realizing that the night has passed. They're still alive. The situation is still very, very dire for Hillary. She is losing blood. She is cold. She's going to die soon if they don't get her help. And Devon steps up, and he proclaims that he wants to go get help. That the rescue planes are not moving fast enough. They can't, especially because of the weather. So Devon thinks the best thing he can do is to go for help, which, by the way, is like the worst thing you can do. It's like two bad ideas rolled into one, because I've seen enough Dateline to know that if you're trapped in the snow, you don't leave the car. Like, it's tempting to want to go out and get help or whatever, but you should always stay near the... Remember this, you guys. These are the takeaways from Y&R for this week. Don't drink the punch, and don't leave the plane. You stay near the plane. And the other rule that you're not supposed to break is you're not supposed to leave the group. You're supposed to stay in the group. So Devon's big idea is actually a horrible idea. He just wants to go out into the blizzard snow, randomly looking for anyone. And I love Jill putting him in his place, being like, look, Devon, you can't just go trudging off in your designer loafers, you idiot. I loved that line. I wanted to grab Jill and give her a big old hug in that moment. But Colin comes out of the plane in another, I'm fawning over Colin, but it was just such a beautiful Colin moment. He comes out of the plane with a little bit of a swagger, and he plops down a book, and he tells everyone, I found a map. So he's very proud of himself in that moment. Like, we all might die, but I just want you all to know that I found a map. It was very hard to. I had to go, you know, I had to move a dead body to find it. But so now they have a map. They have some more of a hope for going out and getting help. And Devon is thinking, you know, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. You know, they take a look at the map, they realize they can make it happen, so Devon is ready to go. He takes a little energy bar with him, says goodbye, he gets a hug from Jill. Lily gives him kind of a begrudged hug, like, I'm so mad at you, but here's a hug. Don't do anything stupid, like die. She is still bitter. I mean, even a plane crash couldn't wipe away that bitter, so you just better get ready, because Lily ain't, that rage ain't going nowhere once they get back to Genoa City. But then Devon goes to Neil, and he is kind of making the rounds to everyone, knowing that he might not come back from this little trudge. So he goes to Neil, and there's just this moment, not a word was spoken. It was just Devon kind of walking up to Neil, and he's sort of lowered, you know, Neil's taller, and Devon has his head just almost a little bit, just a touch bowed, and Neil's sort of like, you know, towering a little bit more above him, and it's just a look between them was incredible. I mean, it said everything, not a word needed to be said, but I think that, I don't know, Devon did say something, I can't remember what it was, but the look was better than anything he could have said. It was Devon feeling sorry, and Neil's just, you know, still such betrayal, such rage. So the next thing we know, Devon goes over to say his goodbye to Hillary. Everybody looks up, and Neil's gone. The map is gone. So Neil has clearly decided that he's going to go out. You know, he's going to sacrifice his life instead of Devon, which is what a parent would do. Neil is betrayed, but it doesn't erase the years and years of being a parent and being a leader and being a role model. And I sort of think that throughout the course of this disaster, this horrible situation, Neil has observed the relationship between Hillary and Devon and has maybe just slightly through his feeling of anger and betrayal has seen that there is a love between them, and that they didn't want to hurt him. It wasn't just a sexual affair, that that there were real feelings there. And I kind of think that, in his own way, as little as he could, Neil maybe began to hate the lie, but understand the love, and has chosen to, sacrifice himself, maybe so that they could stay together, maybe to get Hillary the help she needs. Maybe Neil will have a better chance of surviving out there in the cold, because he probably wears the kind of designer loafers that are made for the solidly upper class, not the wildly upper class like Devon. I think the storyline that is kind of my runner-up for most compelling is the one that I didn't see coming at all. We saw the previews of YNR for the plane wreckage. We saw the previews for the underground collapse, but I did not have anything that prepared me for Austin's dead body falling out of a curio cabinet. What? That was like the most shocking moment of the week. We see everybody, all the kids at the Abbott cabin, which, by the way, I thought was filler. I thought, they're just going to have all the kids up at the Abbott cabin to have something to go between scenes, and especially because they didn't want any of the youngsters to be in any mortal danger when the roof collapsed at the underground. I just totally did not expect that to even be its own storyline, but everybody's there at Abby's behest, and she's throwing this party. They're all drinking like bad little kids, and all of a sudden we see a hand dumping a vial of something into the punch. Next thing we know, everybody's in a fog. They sort of wake up. Nobody has any idea what has happened. Austin is missing. I think somebody opens up the damn cabinet and his dead body falls out. What the hell? What the hell? I did not see that coming. I thought immediately this is not happening. He's faking, or I don't know. I don't know. The guy's still in the opening credits, so I wasn't expecting him to turn up dead. I don't know if this is like YNR's. Did my video freeze? Hang on. Okay, I'm sorry. I just had a technical difficulty. I'm all recording podcast and video at the same time, and the old YNR Jack camera is getting old. I probably need to replace it, but I didn't want to start all over because that was my pure reaction. Okay, so the issue becomes, what the hell happened to Austin? Something happened to him. It's revealed that there's blood on the back of his head. He's dead. He's been hit over the head with something. He's been bludgeoned to death. And all of the kids at the cabin are wondering what happened. Nobody else was here. We were all out of it on what the hell? That's all I could say. This whole storyline is what the hell, what the hell, what the hell? That's just the whole, if I could summarize it in one sentence, it's that. And they all are kind of pointing fingers and wondering what happened. And finally, Fenn admits, this really ticked me off, that his little weasel ass spiked the punch with some kind of party drug, which I'm so mad. And I guess this is probably what I personally feel is the first instance of YNR maybe doing something for plot that seemed out of character for me. Yes, I know Fenn has a history of drugs and whatever, but everything we've been told up until this point about Fenn was that he was getting back on the straight and narrow. I don't think you go away to school and get straight A's while still doing drugs. So why would he do that? Why A, would he be back on drugs with no indication from us? Like, I mean, his father has cancer and he goes out of his way to look for party drugs, A, and then B, why would he put it in the punch? Why would he do that to everybody? Fenn is someone who has got to, he understands that there are repercussions for his actions. I mean, yeah, he's a dumbass kid, but it just didn't seem right to me. I'm looking at him thinking, what? I cannot believe that he would do that. So all of a sudden the suspicion is on Fenn. He didn't like Austin anyway. He's been very vocal about thinking that he wasn't good enough for Summer. Summer didn't really know him. Weiner's been planting that seed for a number of weeks now. But there, the attention sort of shifts throughout the room of different people who could have killed Austin. Kevin being one of them. I don't remember who it was, if it was Mariah or somebody. I think it was Mariah, realizes that oddly, this situation that just happened oddly models the very last chapter of Plato's Fears online book or whatever it is web published article or book or series or whatever it is, and everybody's read it. I have a hard time believing Noah's online reading fiction like this, but even Noah's like, yeah, I read that, that's weird. So everybody's kind of like, that's suspicious. It sort of started taking on this horror theme vibe, like kids in a cabin. Someone gets murdered, and what are we gonna do? I don't know. I don't know if Weiner was trying to kind of appeal to that demo or what the deal was, but Kevin finally had to admit to everyone that he is Plato's Sphere, which I kind of was hoping that would be more of a fun moment than a excuse to cast the suspicion onto him, because now all of a sudden everyone's going, you're the dark twisted one. Why, and all of a sudden this murder happened that resembles exactly something that you wrote. So, I don't know. Why does it have to be the Baldwins? It was just total suspicion on those two guys. And then as it all sort of progresses, Summer begins to have these flashes where she, I guess I kind of glossed over Summer waking up and realizing that Austin was dead, which was a very powerful scene. In fact, I think Summer has done, the actress who plays Summer has done a really good job this week. I totally felt how she must feel, and someone even said she's 18 years old and a widow, which is so heavy, and they had only begun to start or having problems in the relationship, or we had only become aware of it recently, but Summer loved her husband. She was all about Austin, and waking up to see that he was dead on the floor was a horrific moment. And again, I think that was part of the shock. I was absolutely shocked by not only that he died, but just that, whoa, we're going here now. But as the evening wore on, Summer began to have these flashes of herself looking at a bloody bookend, picking up a couch sofa and shoving it underneath the couch sofa and hiding it. So realizing that she was holding the murder weapon, and not only that, but she hid it. So all of a sudden, everyone in the room is realizing at the same time, because Summer's admitting it, that Summer killed her husband. That, for whatever reason, she did it. She was on this party drug, who knows why. Nobody wants to believe it. Everybody's kind of chalking it up to the drug. Nobody believes that she would go out of her way or premeditate a murder of Austin. And Noah's brotherly instinct kicks in, and he begins to tell everyone, we cannot not let Summer go down for this. We have got to cover this up. And one by one, everybody in the room starts to agree, like, we need to come up with a lie. We need to come up with some kind of alternate excuse because, you know, we can't let Summer take the rap for killing her husband. That's unacceptable. Everybody in the room except for Courtney, the cop. I have to say, just before I go any further, I was so annoyed. I love Courtney. I actually really like the actress. I want to see her be fun, not pretend to be a cop. Every time Courtney tries to be a cop in the scene, I'm totally taken out of the scene and thinking about how annoying it is that Courtney's pretending to be a cop. I mean, she's going on about, you know, the murder weapon and that's evidence, and I don't buy it at all. Y&R, stop it. After this, maybe this will help. Maybe she can look for a new career and something a little more light, a little more fun, a little more believable, because it's absolutely ridiculous. Courtney's the only one that is not on board with covering up a murder, which, by the way, if I were Courtney, I'd be like, forget you people. There's no way I'm in on this. Absolutely not. We need to just tell the truth. Like, there's no way I would ever, again, I've watched too much Dateline. There's no way I would ever go ahead with a cover-up. And I felt really bad for Courtney that everyone in the room is leaning on her like, you got to participate in this. And especially Noah, knowing who she is and how she is, and that her career means so much to her, would ask her to do this. It's just awful. I don't know, I felt really sympathetic for her because she said, I don't want to be just like every other dirty cop. And I don't know, I got that. But, you know, little by little, they start chipping away at her, telling her this is what she needs to do. This is the best thing that she could do. Remember when Courtney was Summer's best friend? That's what brought her onto the show in the first place. So Courtney has this defining moment, which again is ridiculous, where she says, well, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. And all of a sudden her cop kicks in and she helps them basically cover up Austin's murder because they think Summer was under duress and drugs and couldn't have done it. It's just the worst idea ever. I can't believe this is like happening. I mean, they stage a slip. We come up with this idea of saying dead Austin, that Austin slipped outside and hit his head and died, and then they're just gonna call the cops and you know, get all their stories straight. Like, it starts to become totally overanalyzed. They drag his dead body. I mean, Summer, I can only imagine what that would feel like to have a group of people drag your husband's dead body out of the room and into the snow to cover up his murder. It's unbelievable. It's not even apprehensible to me. It just felt so bad. They drag him out there, they stage this whole thing, everybody's trying to get their stories straight, and it just becomes like, you know, this is gonna fall apart. There's absolutely no way that these, 6 people are gonna be able to cover this up. There's absolutely no way. It's all gonna unravel, it's all gonna come out, it's just a matter of time. I can't believe that we're going there. I can't even believe we're here on Y&R right now. The interesting thing, the main interesting thing to me, again, a twist on top of a twist that I didn't see coming. Mariah begins to have flashbacks, little pieces of information about what happened in the time lapse where everybody was on this party drug, and Mariah remembers seeing Abby and Austin making out hard in the corner. That was a good twist. I did not see that coming. We saw Austin texting someone last week that seemed like a booty call, and now all of a sudden this week we're seeing that he was in the corner making out with Abby while his wife was in the room. I assume kind of passed out or whatever. But Mariah confronts Abby about it. Abby admits the whole thing. Like, Abby and Austin were apparently having an affair, and she decided to invite everybody up to this cabin so that she could be with Austin on Valentine's Day and make out with him while his wife wasn't looking, or, you know, just in general be with him in one way or another. So Abby's apparently like in love with Austin, or wow. That's kind of another thing that just, it feels like not character motivated, maybe just plot motivated, because Austin's main dissatisfaction with Summer seemed to be Summer's money. So he's got a problem with being with Summer because of her money, but he doesn't have a problem being with a naked heiress and all her money. I don't know. The wheels didn't start to fall off of Austin until like a week ago. And now all of a sudden we're, I think as fans, thinking about, oh, is he going to do something, you know, violent? Because they were playing that party game earlier and the subject of murder came up and he got all upset. And, you know, we're waiting for him to do something bad. But I would never have guessed that he was having an affair with Abby, of all people. It was just weird. I can't believe it, but shocking, and I suppose in somewhat of a good way. I can't believe the guy's dead. I don't even know if he is. There's another moment. I mean, we're starting to see these flashes coming back. There's a moment where Fenn starts to act weird. He's looking down. They've got the bloody bookend on the table, and he's looking at that. I think that's what it was, or he's looking at the vial of drugs or whatever. I don't know. Fenn started acting weird. I couldn't put my finger on what he was looking at or what he was thinking, but he decides to run off, and I don't even remember what he said he was going to do, but he goes outside and he comes back and he reveals to everyone that Austin's body is gone. So what happened? What happened here? Austin was dead. They come up with this elaborate lie. Now the body's gone. Did bears drag him off? Is there any chance that like Kyle has anything to do with this? Kyle was supposed to come back. I think he's been recast. Is that just a convenient shoulder for Summer to lean on in the future? Is there any chance he's got something sinister? Is there any chance that Austin is not dead? You know, he was seeming shady. He was seeming like he had something up his sleeve. He clearly had a distaste for all of the people in this room in one way or another, probably with the exception of Mariah. Is there any chance he faked his own death? I just don't know how. I mean, nobody can figure out how the body got into the closet in the first place. You would have to have two people to do it, and it seems like the implication now is that it was either Summer who killed her husband after seeing that he was smooching on Abby, or it was Abby who killed Austin because he wouldn't leave his wife. I don't really even think either of those scenarios works. I don't see the two women working together like, hey, let's just smash him over the head together and shove him in this closet. I don't think they were in cohorts together with it, so I'm looking for another answer. The fact that everybody thinks that it was somebody that was in the room makes me think that it was not someone who was in the room. So is there any chance Adam, crying out loud, is there any chance that Adam is still alive? Is there any chance that Austin is still alive? Is there any chance that Fenn has something to do with this? He's shitty. He did spike the punch. He admitted that. What did he go outside for? Why was he acting all weird? Was it just that he, maybe wanted to go move the body to prevent an autopsy, which would reveal the drugs that were in his system? I just don't know. Victor has the nerve to bring Phyllis to the Valentine's Day party right under Nikki's nose. What is he thinking? He has absolutely no regard for his wife whatsoever. It's annoying, and it hasn't stopped being annoying for years and years and years. But Victor and Nikki are at the underground Valentine's Day party, as well as Phyllis and Jack. Phyllis and Jack run into one another, and Jack decides that now would be the best time to enact that plan to get Phyllis to explode all over the place irrationally and create a scene and allow everyone to see it so as to establish that she's not mentally capable, so as to get her out of this criminal charge that's going on right now. And he chooses to do it by letting Phyllis think for a moment that he's got a date with Kelly tonight. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. This whole thing, great idea, Jack. I just couldn't have thought of it better myself. Naturally, thinking that Jack is running back to Kelly, Phyllis snaps and she's yelling at him in the middle of the club, which to me, it's just like she was making a scene, but it wasn't even that big of a scene. She made a bigger scene when she realized that exactly what he was doing, that he was trying to make her make a scene. But again, I think I've said this before. What Phyllis did yelling at Jack was no worse than what plenty of ladies have done in public yelling at their man, or vice versa. Couples fight, and they fight publicly often. I didn't think that what happened there made Phyllis look unstable at all. And furthermore, I kind of get tired of everybody, well, specifically Avery and Jack, saying that Phyllis is not herself. She's not acting like herself. Well, I'm sorry. Phyllis is exactly acting like herself. She is exactly the same Phyllis as before. She's no different. She was always possessive, obsessive, insecure, and that's what you've got here right now. So this just all seems like unnecessary to me. It feels like, Jack, do you understand the woman that you were engaged to at all? It got ugly. Victor did not mind inserting himself right into the middle of it, of course. Victor had no business getting up in the middle of their fight, but oh no, he had to go in there and just rub salt into that wound. Phyllis is telling Jack, you know, I'm never gonna forgive you. I mean, we're not together. I can't believe you could do this to me. You don't understand me. Victor is the only one who understands me, which clearly hit Jack in exactly the right spot, in the same way that Phyllis thinking Jack was off with Kelly hit Phyllis in the right spot. Phyllis saying that Victor's the one that understands me, I'm staying at Victor's, he's the one that's going to help me, hits Jack in exactly the right spot. And guess who is hanging around? Guess who's just sniffing around in the background? Kelly. She's the one that's orchestrated this whole thing. It hasn't been made obvious, but it seems obvious to me. Kelly has been unraveling for weeks now. She's the one with the motive for all of this. So she's hanging out in the background, watching another fight happen with Phyllis and Jack, and just waiting in the wings for him to take her, which he did. So let's just talk about this. Jack and Kelly run into each other. I can't even remember. I need to go back and watch it again because I can't remember if, what happened. I think, they kissed or something. I'm blinded. I'm blinded with rage by what happens next. They go into this little janitor's closet or utility closet or whatever, and, they're having conversations and whatever and love-ins, and all of a sudden, pretty much basically out of nowhere, I think Jack kissed her, started taking off her clothes, does the desk swipe move, hoists her up on a desk, and begins to have sex with her. I think the scene cuts. The next thing we see is Kelly on the dirty ground of a utility closet on her back, and Jack pulling away and getting up and moving on, and Kelly's being all ugh, I knew it, Jack, I knew you loved me, this is confirmation of everything that she felt or believed about Jack. I thought, is this a freaking dream sequence? Because Jack just totally, after a fight with Phyllis, went and had sex with Kelly, which is Phyllis's worst nightmare, which made her right. But, oh no, that's not even it. That's not even the cherry on the cake. Now he's got to cover it up. And I also will say, one other thing I want to say, that it was very distinct to me, was Jack goes in to start having sex with Kelly, and if you looked at his face, there was a sense of disgust immediately. Before the sex even happened, Jack was looking at Kelly with disgust and kissing her. I don't want to do this. It was a week ago that he was telling Kelly they're never going to get back together. They never had a future. It was so completely out of character for him to feel disgust by her, yet be compelled to have sex with her. in a dirty utility closet. I wanted to vomit. I mean, it was so revolting. And to add another layer of revolting, they start to have to get their stories straight because Jack's not going to let it get out that this just happened, even though Kelly's clearly basking in the love that Jack just gave her. Jack says, we need to get out of here. You go first. Reaches down on the table, grabs her dress, tosses it at her, and tells her to go. I don't feel like I know this man. There were so many shocking moments throughout the week, bar none. That was the most shocking to me. Jack picking up that dress and flinging it, and Kelly catching her dress and having to get dressed and run out of the room, not knowing what to make of it, fixing her hair. You know what, Jack? You wonder why situations like Patty happen? It's because you treat women like this. Ashley saw him coming out of the room a little bit later and she nailed him and said something like, did you just sleep with Kelly? Why do you do things like this, Jack? It's the same thing as you sleeping with Diane on your wedding day to Patty. You create these situations. When I saw him toss that dress at her, I felt sick. I literally had a feeling of sick to my stomach because I love Jack and I couldn't believe what I was freaking seeing with my eyes. I mean, do you guys think so? Like, she was disposable. I was so mad. I was so absolutely mad. And he's supposed to be better than Victor. He's supposed to be the one that's better than Victor. He's no better than Victor. So that was horrifying. Out in the main room, Nikki has been slugging back the vodkas all night long. She's slurring, slipping all over the place, starting up another fight with Victor. Victor finally, this was another great reveal. I like the emotional reveals. I appreciate the plane crashes and the sets and all that stuff, but I like the emotional reveals. And Victor finally looks at Nikki, just takes a clear look at her for the first time, I think, in a while, pays attention to Nikki for the first time in a while, and says, you're drunk. You are drunk. And he has a full realization of, this isn't new. This isn't just tonight. This has been going on. You dropped that baby. You almost dropped the baby at that christening because you were drunk. And Nikki don't seem to care. She really honestly just seems like, whatever, Victor. I don't care if you know or not. I mean, she hasn't really even been doing that good of a job of hiding it. I think part of her wants to get caught, wanted to get some help. But they're having this argument pretty much as the ceiling is caving in. We've seen hints of this from last week, and it was peppered in a little bit throughout this week. That ceiling in the underground is starting to sink until it collapses. Nick and Sage had gone off into another room because there was an electrical glitch. I think they were looking for the generator or something. But now Nick and Sage are trapped. They're the first trapeze that we see and experience. The roof has collapsed. And I don't know. I couldn't quite believe what I was watching because the roof is just falling in. Who ever knows who else is out there, survived, didn't survive. And Nick and Sage are flirting. They're like having a good old time there trapped. I mean, Sage is talking about her life. Nick is talking about his life. They start talking about the future and wanting, like, Nick's family is trapped in another room potentially, dead. Okay? And Nick is talking about wanting to get to know Sage better, and the whole situation becomes so passionate. Nick is so overwhelmed with passion that he kisses Sage in this moment. Like, only Nick could muster a kiss after having a roof cave in on him. Could not believe it. Just could not believe it, how lighthearted it was. Everything about this week has been disaster, disaster, disaster. And then Nick is just cracking old jokes. Nick and Sage, whatever, they have their little smoochy smooch. Avery and Joe, I think, were the next trapeze that we saw. Joe's trapped underneath something. Avery's a little more free. She apparently uses physics to save him. I don't even know what that meant. I don't know what happened. She was like zip-zapping something. I don't know. Avery, you can use physics to save someone, but you can't figure out what man you want to be with. Why am I so angry? I got angry by Jack, and now it's not going away. But, so Avery and Joe are talking. I mean, Joe is using this as an excuse to continue to try to worm his way into her life. They talk. It wasn't that interesting, but now we see Victor and Nikki and Phyllis trapped together. My initial, I could not stop, pretty much the entire scene, I couldn't stop thinking, this has got to be the worst trip for Nikki ever. I mean, this is a bad high. She was pretty warm and mellow and slurry when everything was going down. And then all of a sudden the roof caves in and it's like, what? Where am I? I just kept thinking Nikki's got to be so confused and scared, and they're all trapped together, and Victor is, of course, trying to get everyone out of the room, and he comes across a body. Guess who it is? Jack. I think he left the club and came back or something, but he's trapped. And Victor finds him, and he's basically dying. I mean, Jack is not gonna live, and Victor saves his life. For the second time, somebody does CPR this week and saves someone else's life. That's the other takeaway from Y&R this week, you guys. I gotta make a list of them. We need to learn CPR, because it's been used twice. So many disasters, it just keeps getting used. I need to get trained in CPR in case this ever happens to me. So we need to put that on our to-do list, you guys. I did enjoy very, very much Victor saving Jack's life. You know I did. He's administering CPR. Nikki is looking at Victor so lovingly, realizing that Victor's kind of putting aside his own rivalry with Jack to save his life. And I have to admit, Victor pushing on Jack's chest saying, "Come on, Jack, live," brought a tear to my eye. It really did. Jack starts to come to and is realizing that Victor saved him, and he's kind of trying to talk, and Victor says, yeah, you can thank me later. That was a kind of a beautiful line. I just love that Victor didn't hesitate. He didn't hesitate to save Jack's life. He said, I'm not going to let you die because of a building. If you die, it's because of me. Jack's soul was leaving his body, and Victor said, no, and he snatched it and shoved it back down into Jack's body. Oh no, you're gonna die because of me. And he said, I'm saving you because people I love you. And I thought that was really good. Jack is, of course, he's starting to kind of mutter and come to, and he says something. I think he says the word Adam. He says Adam. And that was sort of a mystery. I'm like, oh, is he going to tell the truth? Is this going to be his dying word? It kind of shifts over to Nick and Dylan coming. Nick was able to get out. Nick was able to get out of the room he was in. I'm trying to remember all of this, and find his way toward Avery and Joe, which allowed Avery and Sage to be rescued, and Dylan had showed up with a search party, and Nick and Dylan decide to soldier on and try to find everybody else. Nick is certain that he's heard banging on these pipes, so he believes that his parents are still alive in this wreckage. But the dynamic between Phyllis and Jack and Victor and Nikki together trapped was very interesting to me. Of course, a tragedy, somebody should tell this to Lily, but a tragedy tends to kind of reunite, and Phyllis is ready to just tear her own skin off to get to Jack and tell her she loves him and to reunite. At the end of the day, all of the tricks fall away, and it's just about the love, and she's with him and wanting to be right by his side, which is unfortunate because she's going to feel a little bit different maybe when she finds out he just slept with Kelly. He's still probably got Kelly stank on him. Ugh. after that, Jack deserved, she deserved to have a building dumped on him. Not in reality, but as a joke. Yes. I was not happy with Jack. But Jack keeps kind of talking about Adam, and Victor's wanting to know, what is it that you have to tell me about Adam? And Nikki's saying he deserves to know. And eventually Jack is almost getting to the point where he's gonna tell Victor that his son's still alive when the rescue team arrives, and Nikki and Phyllis are able to make it out safely and to get their medical attention. But Victor and Jack are still trapped inside of the rubble, and they're arguing about who's gonna go first. They argued about a Christmas tree. Of course they're gonna argue about who's gonna go get rescued first. And it was funny, Jack said, I'm not gonna let you hold this over my head. You know, you saved my life once, I'm not gonna let you do it again. And I will say also, this has happened before. There have been other instances where Jack saved Victor's life. He gave Victor Colleen's heart. There's also been an instance where Jack left Victor dead on the floor after having a heart attack and kicked his hand on the way out the door. Never forget that scene. And this is Victor's chance to repay. I'm sure Victor has saved Jack's life another time, but I can't remember what. If you can remember all the times where this has happened, please leave me a comment and let me know. But I really did enjoy it. They're arguing about who's gonna exit first. When there's another collapse, all of the rubble is just breaking and causing weight, and there's another collapse, and there's like Nikki and Phyllis are back at Crimson Lights where they've set up an emergency station, and I think it was Dylan gets word that there was another collapse. Victor and Jack didn't make it out alive, so Nikki and Phyllis and everybody and Nick, and they're all worried that seems like Victor and Jack are gonna die together. I'm not even worried, because we all know that Victor and Jack are both immortal, especially Victor. Although I do think that if they were gonna die, it would be most appropriate that they would die together, because the Victor and Jack rivalry it's just, I love anytime it's front and center. It's beautiful, it's lasting, it's long lasting. Frankly, the Victor and Jack relationship has been more consistent than any of the other romantic relationships that either guy has had. I was so exhausted by everything else that had happened that I think I was just, it tipped it over the edge when Chelsea smelled smoke out in the hallway at the penthouse, at the high rise. I could not believe YNR was going there. It would have been enough for with the plane crash in the underground. I'm gonna be honest with you. They could have had Austin just get hit by a bus, and I would have been just as shocked and just as satisfied. They could have done a shot of a bus, and then Austin going, and then crash, and then boom, and I would be like, whoa, Austin died. This is a great week of YNR. But they just like brought it at every twist, turn, a fire to boot. Let's just blaze it up. Let's crash it down and blaze it up. Oh man, I mean, I don't know. Whoever's in charge of this now is like into action movies or something, but Chelsea smells the smoke out in the hallway. I mean, they're on the top floor, realizes she's got to get the kids out. She grabs the baby, herself and Johnny, and Connor's upstairs. Billy says, you go, you take the kid. I'm gonna go upstairs, I'm gonna get Connor, I'm gonna be right behind you. Unfortunately, by the time that Billy does that, the smoke has become so overwhelming in the hall that he's not able to get out. Really sad. I mean, I felt breathless watching it. Tons of smoke just billowing into the hall, into the apartment. Billy has to turn around, bring Connor back into the room. He puts Connor into his crib and puts like a wet blanket over it, and unfortunately becomes so overwhelmed with the smoke that he passes out. It was really hard to watch because I knew nothing was going to happen, but just even the idea that he would die in the apartment with Connor. Of course, Adam gets home and the building is on fire, and he sees Chelsea outside and realizes that his son is still up in that building. So Adam just bum rushes it. Like, Billy couldn't get out, but for somehow Adam was able to get in twice. Billy couldn't get out once, but Adam was able to get in and out twice, as a matter of fact. Adam rushes up to the penthouse. Though I swear there was one scene where I could have sworn I saw him coming out of the elevator, which is ridiculous. Like, isn't the elevator the worst place you're supposed to be in a fire? I don't know. I don't have disaster training, but maybe I need to get it now. Adam rushes into the condo, sees Billy passed out on the floor. Connor is in the crib just crying and crying. Adam goes right for his son, grabs his son up in his arms, tries to wake Billy up. Like, come on, Billy, are you awake? You awake? But realizes Billy's out. He cannot take both of them. So Adam just, now this is where I'm not sure, you guys can tell me. In my head, when I initially watched it, Adam says to Billy, you do the same thing. Grabs his kid and juts down the stairs. Sort of communicating that damn well I can't take both. If these situations were reversed, you'd take your kid over me. So that was sort of my initial reading of it. Although later in the week, I kind of started getting the impression that he said something different. Adam rushes down to give Connor to Chelsea. Oh, thank God, Chelsea is completely relieved. This stranger has gone up and rescued my baby. She's gonna be forever in debt to him, of course. But she says, where's Billy? And Adam has to say he's passed out inside. I couldn't get them both. And I think it was the look on Chelsea's face that sort of made him realize he has to go running back up into the building. He has to go back up for Billy. And I think part of it was because there was a moment at the club earlier where, before it collapsed, where Adam and Sage are talking, and Sage said something to Adam like, she really does love Billy, she does love him. And I think maybe that made Adam realize what he's really up against. And when he saw Chelsea's face, that she was of course relieved that her son was safe, but that the man she loves is still up in the building, I kind of think maybe that's what made Adam turn around. I suppose it could be interpreted that he just wanted to do the right thing by Chelsea. I'm not, I think motivation is something that will be revealed a little bit later down the road, in full, maybe what was going through Adam's mind, what his thought process was. But he rushes back up into that building, back up into the penthouse, sees Billy. He's not gonna be able to carry him out, so he smacks him around, tries to get him to wake up a little bit. And he said something at that point, like, before Billy came to, he said something like, you did the same thing to me, which made me rethink my initial, I'll tell you, I listened like 3 times to try to figure out what Adam said to Billy before he left the first time, and I couldn't place it. I got my headphones and everything. I could not understand it. But when he came back the second time, he said something like, you did something to the effect of, you did the same thing to me. Like, you left me alone in that car crash. You got yourself out, but you left me there. And maybe that's what he was saying. You can let me know if that's correct. But there was a sense of Adam didn't really want to do it. He didn't really want to be in there saving Billy's life, but he needed to, and he did. He was able to get Billy out. They both come downstairs. Everybody's rescued. I mean, we saw the CGI of the building or the apartment on fire. Not that was, I don't know whose apartment it was. Is there any chance that was Gabriel and Sage's apartment? Did he leave that fancy schmancy coffee maker on a little too long? Are these sets going to be destroyed by the fire? I don't know. It could have been a completely unrelated apartment, but the fire was very real, but luckily everybody we know got out safe. A little bit later, Adam is down with the EMTs getting checked out. He, again, made it in and out of the building twice. Nobody else, for some reason, was able to. But the EMTs are checking him out. And they say something about the bullet wound that he's got. And Billy overhears it. And I don't know if Billy is starting to put together the pieces on this, because in the moments before both men came out of the building, Adam had said something to Billy like, I didn't come back just to die this way. And Billy took note of that. Why did you say that? You know, what was it? And just a couple of the things that Adam had said was a little bit more mysterious. And then the bullet wound, I wonder if Billy is going to put together those pieces. I kind of hope that he does sooner rather than later. I mean, he's got to be wondering what this guy's motivation was. I mean, with the fire, all of the pieces of the puzzle are there. It's now Billy's to put together. I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but I wanted to do it in descending order of excitement. But before the underground collapsed, Dylan and Avery and Joe are there. Every week is a new fight between Dylan and Joe. If I was Avery, I'd be like, you guys, this is getting really old. You need to stop it. Dylan has to solve everything with his fists, and Joe has to solve everything with a tongue lashing. But they get in a physical fight, and Avery ends up caught in the middle of it, literally, and she gets punched. Avery gets punched. It was brutal. I went back and watched that like 2 or 3 times to try to figure out who hit her. It was later implied that it was actually Dylan, but you know, I watched it 3 times and it looked to me like Joe was the one that threw the punch that hit her. It doesn't really matter. The point is that she was a victim of it. Watching Avery having been hit and blood coming out of her nose felt brutal to me. Again, it just like Weiner was hitting me in the gut. Like, that's a bad place. I don't want to see it's hard to see a woman having been punched and bleeding. So that was difficult to see. And she was very mad at Dylan. He tried to comfort her and she kind of flinches away from him. And it's clear that relationship is, it's sinking. I kind of hate to see it, but it's becoming increasingly clear. Dylan leaves, and which is why he wasn't at the underground collapse. He starts driving. He's sort of almost having kind of a PTSD flashback, it seemed, when he comes upon a car crash, which, can you freaking believe it, was Sharon. I mean, it's just like fire, car crash, and collapse, and plane crash. And I don't know where. I mean, we're lucky if we get 1 car crash in a week, let alone all of these things working together. We see a scene of Sharon back at her house. The electricity is out. It's cold. She has Faith. She's watching Faith while Nick is at the underground for his big Valentine's Day party. And Sharon is becoming very irrational. She is panicked by the fact that there's been this car crash. She is being very weird, very strange. Like, I really thought she was off her meds. Seeing just out of nowhere, the Sharon crash happened off camera. So we're just experiencing the panicky aftermath of it. And it was really off-putting. I didn't know if she had just completely lost her mind or what. But Dylan shows up at the house because he's seen the wreck. And he, really comes to the rescue more ways than one. Sharon is absolutely panicked about the fact that she's just wrecked her car with Faith in it. She believes that if Nick finds out what just happened, that she wrecked her car with Faith, then he's gonna use that against her. She's never gonna get an opportunity to watch Faith again. She's just extremely paranoid. She's ready to grab Faith, go out into the cold to try to move the car to cover up the evidence, which is so sad that she felt she had to do that. Luckily, Dylan was there to calm her down and even says, look, I'll take the rap for this. You don't need to. Look, we'll get it all worked out. And she is sort of becoming calmed down, willing to accept that. What a nice guy. She takes off her hat to reveal that she's got a head wound, which starts to explain the irrational behavior. She could possibly have a concussion. That wasn't really addressed later on down the road, or later on as the week progressed, but I kind of wonder if that head wound is going to play a role in any of this. Is there any chance that we're going to see a change in Sharon's character? She hit her head. That had to have accounted for something. She was behaving irrationally. Nobody said that she had a concussion, but I just can't help wondering if maybe that's going to signal a change in the character. I don't know. She's very adamant about not going to the hospital. She only cares about covering this up. Nick has got her rattled. He's got her completely scared. Dylan is able to convince Sharon to go to the coffee house where it's warm. There's a backup generator. Faith can get some hot chocolate. Like, he's there for her. He's there for her in an emotional and a physical way that she really needed at this point, and I appreciated very much. They go to the coffee house. Nick shows up, asks Sharon what happened to her head. She decides to fess up. She could have let Dylan take the fall for this, but she doesn't. She tells Nick the truth, and Nick snaps. She was completely right to be afraid of him. She knew he was going to have that reaction. He starts talking about how irresponsible she is, and you know, it made me feel really bad to her. Dylan kind of jumps to her defense, saying, you know, she knew you were going to have this reaction. If you wouldn't have been so worried about taking her child away from her, maybe you could have put on some snow tires or something. Maybe you could take care of your woman. You know, and I thought that was a really good point to make. But I was glad that Sharon did kind of take, you know, she confessed, she took responsibility for it, and Dylan went on to fill in all of the blanks, even saying she was so scared of you, Nick, that I was going to have to take the blame for all of this. Ooh. That didn't sit real well with Avery. Avery's there. She overheard this whole thing, realizes that Dylan is willing to go this far for Sharon, and she's a little bit jealous. Oh, you were gonna lie for her? And Dylan said, yeah, I was. You know, after everything she's been through, somebody needs to help her. And Avery is ticked off. I mean, she's just had this moment with Joe where, of course, he's been pleading, you know, this is after the crash. I know I'm doing this in, like, not the best order, but you saw the show. You know what I'm talking about. But Avery has been, for weeks and weeks, pursued by Joe. And now, all of a sudden, she's sort of got this tick of jealousy where she's realizing that Dylan is paying attention to another woman. Avery, I love you, girl, but you've got to make up your mind here. You just have got to stop towing the line. Either you want to move forward with Dylan or you want to rewrite the past with Joe. You can't have both. But Joe has offered as his Valentine's gift to Avery that he's going to leave town forever. Oh, unless you stop me, unless you decide to tell me not to, then I'm just going to leave town forever. And what you want to bet, he ain't going nowhere. Okay, I'm gonna read just a couple of comments. I've talked way too long. This is probably gonna log as the longest way in our chat ever, but I mean, crash, bang, explosion, fire, everything. I had to. Okay, first up, I got a voicemail from Connor, who I haven't heard from in a while, and I was so happy. It's funny because I just love hearing your voices, and I had thought to myself, like, literally the last 2 weeks in a row, Connor, I've been like, I need to call him out because I haven't heard from him in a while, and I just kept, like, not doing it, and but I was really happy to hear your voice. Connor had a couple of comments, really sealed what I was thinking about Jack. Connor actually used the term deplorable to describe what Jack had done with Kelly, and that just really hit me. I thought that was a good way to describe it because it feels deplorable to me. Connor also kind of made a point about this probably being the end of Lily and Kane's marriage, that this could be exactly what ends up destroying them forever. And then also Connor made a point about Avery that rang true with me, saying in essence that Avery doesn't know what she wants, but she doesn't want Dylan to be befriending Sharon. And that's kind of how I feel too. She doesn't know how she feels, but she expects Dylan to be resolute in how he feels about her. And I just thought that was a pretty good point. Bobby on Facebook said this, exactly what I was thinking, but said it also funnier. Nick is such a surfer dude. He's calm and horny. He should be freaking out. His business's roof just collapsed. In soap terms, even in soap terms, his reaction is terrible. I totally agree. I was glad I wasn't the only one. That felt like confirmation for me because I really was like, I can't believe he's making light out of what just happened. Let's see. Robbie called into my voicemail and commented about Devon and Hillary, saying that they really had potential as a couple, that they could have even been the new Drusilla and Neil, but that kind of throwing Neil into the storyline ended up poisoning it for the viewers and, you know, obviously for the other people in Genoa City. I thought that was a good point because especially in that scene, the scene before the crash, I did feel a camaraderie with Devon and Hillary, and I do think that their relationship could have had a lot of potential. It really did just get tainted by the relationship between she and Neil, which probably never should have happened in the first place. But speaking of character things, Gary left me a voicemail that said he felt that the Abby and Austin affair adds texture to Abby's character now, and was complimenting that. And I thought that that was a very good way to describe it, that it adds texture to Abby's character, because Abby's been so one-dimensional for so long. And even though it is a little bit hard to believe that she would have an affair with Summer's husband, especially when she's always so judgmental about everyone else and their loves and blah, blah, blah. But it does kind of give her another dimension that I think is very necessary. I also laugh because Gary, I don't think you realize this, but you were calling Abby Brittany like twice. And I'm like, well, the reason you think that her name is Brittany is because she doesn't even have, like, it's hard to even bother to remember her name. She's just like this face, you know, this, you know, a non-deep character. So maybe this is adding a little bit of texture to it. Now, I wanted to end on this because this is probably like my most brilliant comment of the week. Jennifer on YouTube says, Allie, I think Victor is up to no good in this whole Jack and Kelly fiasco. I think somehow he may have used that love potion on either Jack or Kelly because that sex came out of nowhere. I just think the love potion was used by either Kelly or Victor. I bet old Vic is going to find out soon too, and use this to sock it to Jack. Best comment of the week, absolutely brilliant. I think you're right. And I kind of knew this when I was ranting on Jack earlier, but I wanted to get my full feeling out. But I think what we're gonna see is that Jack probably orchestrated, Victor probably orchestrated this. Victor has Ashley's potion. He has a pure sample of it. Whether they were able to recreate it en masse, I don't know. But Victor has it. And all of a sudden, Jack sleeps with Kelly. Victor has a vested interest in keeping Jack and Phyllis apart. He 100% has the motive to do it. I don't think that Kelly would have had an instance to get her hands on the potion, but Victor certainly did. And going back and thinking about the scene where Jack is getting ready to make love to Kelly, he has a look of disgust on his face, almost like he doesn't want to do it, but he feels compelled beyond reason to do it. An easy explanation for that would be the love potion. I think 100% that's what it was. Jack's character has to be redeemed after this. I mean, look at the way he tossed her dress. It's totally out of character for him, and it can all easily be explained with that love potion. So I love that comment. I think it's genius, Jennifer. Nailed it. Ugh, I am exhausted. My body hurts, like my back hurts from putting my whole body into talking about Y&R this week. It's been so intense, and I loved it. I really did. Good, bad, all of it is total entertainment. They're really stepping it up. It's almost, you can't even tell it's daytime anymore. Again, we're used to such a low standard with daytime. I mean, this is like, they had primetime effects, primetime everything. It was off the hook. I mean, I'm so, you know, there are things that I didn't love as much as others, but I love things that get people talking about the show. It helps keep the series moving. It helps keep me interested and give me stuff to talk about and give me stuff to listen to when you guys leave all of your comments. So please, let her rip. there's several different ways you can contact me. You can call the voicemail, 309-588-4569. You can go to yrchat.com and leave a comment there. You can, from yrchat.com, find the Twitter and the Facebook and all of that good stuff. You can leave a comment on YouTube where all of the videos are every week. You can go to iTunes and leave an iTunes review if you listen to the podcast. There's a bajillion different ways you can contact me, so please feel free. I know you got to get it out. Believe me, I have to get it out. There's nothing else I want to talk about all week. I say so few words all week, and I cram them all into YNR. It's like the only thing I really want to talk about. So I've enjoyed myself, and I'm really very much looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. So let me know, please feedback, and keep watching. Let's all see next week's show and find out what the aftermath is gonna be. I don't even know where we're gonna be after all of this. It's gonna be very interesting, very entertaining, to say the least. So I'll see you guys next week. I love ya. Don't forget, no, don't drink the punch. Don't get in an airplane. Don't drive your car. Don't go to any nightclubs. Learn CPR. All right, you got it? I'll see you next time. Bye.